Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Mabel, Jong, and we have coverage continuing here at the World Healthcare Congress on WHCC TV. I'm joined in the studio now by Chris Jones, Director of University of Vermont Health Network, and also Marta Murphy, Chair of the University of Vermont Health Network Venture Committee, and finally, Dr. Jeffrey Hausfeld, Chairman of BioFactura. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I understand that you had very big news happen over the last couple of days. There was an investment in BioFactura by the University of Vermont Health Network Ventures. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, Dr. Hausfeld, why don't you give us an introduction of what that project is and what it means?
So BioFactura is a biotech company that produces biosimilars and biodefense novel therapeutics. Biosimilars are generic versions of complex biologic drugs. They are meant to reduce healthcare costs and increase access to patients. It is very much in alignment with what the University of Vermont Health Network Ventures is looking to do. So that's why their investment in our company is really an important strategic mission and strategic partner for us.
Okay. How big is the investment, Chris, and how long did it take for you to look into this project, look into the company, do your due diligence, and decide that this is what you wanted to do?
Sure. So we had the pleasure of meeting at the Nova Personalized Medicine Conference in Virginia. And it was very exciting for us to take the first step to assess the company, and it took quite some time. So we took our several months of due diligence to really understand, does this align with our mission, first of all, of improving access, improving outcomes, and reducing costs, and delivering excellent care to the patients and wider community that we serve. And so we saw that as being a future fit in terms of making better medicines at reduced costs. By doing that, we feel that there's a great product market fit for helping improve aspects of care like adherence and access to what would otherwise be very expensive branded medication. And we thought, as we do now, that Dr. Hausfeld was the right person to invest in, and his company was fantastic. So we made a $1 million investment into BioFactura.
Okay. And Marta, let me bring it over to you.
Yes.
Why biosimilars? Why the focus by your venture arm to focus on this particular area to bring down drug costs?
Well, drug costs for biologics are extremely high, could be up to $5,000 a month, but they are life-changing drugs. And so when this opportunity presented itself, it was after we did our due diligence and talked to Dr. Hausfeld, it just really made a tremendous amount of sense. And consider too that this market in Europe is much more robust than in the United States. So we feel this is a really wonderful opportunity for us to get in on the ground floor.
Okay. Dr. Hausfeld, back to you. We just spoke with Dr. Scott Gottlieb, who is the outgoing commissioner of the FDA, who does agree on some of the aspects of the biosimilars front, but there is not that fast pace of approval of these drugs. Why are you so confident that this is the area you want to focus on?
Well, I think that there's a crying need that is unmet at this time. If we do nothing, and we let the cost of these biologics continue, right now they are about 40% of the drug spend in America. If we allow that to continue, they will be 70% of all the drug money that we spend in the next 6 years. The introduction of biosimilars will help control that upward trend in drug costs. The model is there. Europe has 40 to 50 of these on the market being used safely and effectively for their patients. We have to learn from that, and we have to adopt these biosimilars into our armamentarium for our patients.
Chris, may I ask, which drugs are you focusing on, and how did that line up with what BioFactura was already doing?
Sure. So I'll answer that, if I may, in a generic reply. So we decided strategically to implement a policy of offering 2 biosimilars to our patients. And just with that move alone, and I'm not going to name the 2 right now, but just with that move alone, we saved over $1 million, and we feel we've had, if anything, an uptake in terms of access.
How do you calculate $1 million from just the 2 drugs?
Well, I think this was information that we were told by our healthcare providers within the University of Vermont Health Network. And when we brought the biosimilar market to their attention, many of the providers started looking at these as alternatives to, specific biologics, and they started prescribing them and reported very quickly the savings.
Mm-hmm. Now back to you. What drugs does BioFactura focus on in terms of their R&D?
So our first 3 drugs in our pipeline are biosimilars for Stelara, Simponi, and Synagis.
Which address what?
Which are drugs for plaque psoriasis, Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, ulcerative colitis, and Synagis is for the prevention of respiratory syncytial virus in premature infants.
Okay. And how far along are they?
We are starting our phase 1 clinical trials in 2020.
Okay, and then from there, where does it go? And
Then there is a relatively abbreviated pathway for biosimilars because we're not a novel drug. So you have to do a phase 1 trial. You don't have to do a phase 2 because the dose is already predetermined by the reference drug. And then based on your results from phase 1 and the analytic package that you submit to the FDA, the phase 3 can be also pretty abbreviated in terms of its scope. So within the next 3 years, we should be able to commercialize these drugs.
Mm-hmm. Is that pretty quick?
I would say that it's very quick, and there's also, to augment that, a fantastic collaboration in place with the United Kingdom. So we saw that as also being an internationalized component to our investment.
Mm-hmm. And did you have something to add, Martha?
Well, I was saying that when you talk about a venture fund at an academic medical center, when you're looking at, you're actually presenting this opportunity to board members and hospital individuals and describing this investment. They understood it very quickly and understood the tremendous benefit it would offer to our care.
Okay. Is there anything that I've missed that we should highlight here?
Sure. Just that corporate venture is a relatively new structure, and certainly for hospitals to take on so-called corporate or captive venture, it's relatively new. But we see that with the dearth of investing into early stage companies, if we don't play that role, a lot of these early opportunities may die on the vine. Mm-hmm. So we want to be an active participant in their success. This is one of those, I think on a relatively rapid trajectory to great success. And we are part of a 25 hospital collaboration that can syndicate opportunities called the Strategic Ventures Group, led by Brent Stackhouse of Mount Sinai. And we feel that BioFactura would be perfectly placed into that context. So we intend to spread the word.
All right, fantastic. And Dr. Hausfeld, do you want to add something?
And for us, the establishment of these hospital-based venture funds is a relatively new phenomenon within the venture world, and something that we have to teach entrepreneurs about so they understand what are their particular obstacles and opportunities that they have to go through when they do their due diligence in evaluating us as potential investments.
All right. Well, thank you and congratulations to all. And Chris Jones, Dr. Hausfeld, Marta Murphy, thank you for your time today.
Thank you
very much.
And I'm Mabel Jong. Thank you for watching.